Hello, hello. Welcome to the podcast, SC2 Podcast. Your host, Ben Jackson, Coastal Division Manager, and
Allan.
Mr. Allen. All right, we are going to dive into how to expand your SC2 attack list. And you think about it, this is one of the most important things as we get ready to build into the push. We're recording this video a couple of weeks in advance. Today is Monday. The right now it is the Monday the 30th. We're 2 weeks away. The 14th is the start of the push. Next Monday will be the 7th. And 2 weeks from today, we officially start the SC2 push. So, as we build towards it, our whole mission is to go into the push with 20 plus demos lined up. We go into the push with 20 plus demos lined up as an alliance team. It's hard not to have a successful push. The key number, the magic number is 40 plus demos completed, and you're most likely going to have a $10,000 push. A lot of people for this push will do 50 plus demos during this push, and we have people going for 15, 20, 30. Our top people are going for 50 to $100,000 during the push. The more successful you are in the business, the more importance you put on the quality of the people that you see. And what we want to do is build into the push with 20 demos. And we're probably going to need to make somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 to 300 phone calls in the Friday, Saturday, Sunday leading up to the push on the 11th, 12th, and 13th to be able to make that a reality. So, in order to go into the push and go into the phoning needed to have 20 plus demos lined up, we need to organize an attack list that has 150 plus people organized, ready to rock. So, what Dom and I are going to do is walk through a few things that you can do as an individual on our team to make sure you do the work ahead of time to prepare yourself to execute leading into the push. Because it sucks when you sit down at a phone jam and you look around at the people next to you and they're just grinding, making calls, and you've got 20 people to call. And you've got to call the same people twice in a 40 call phone jam. That's what leads to people not having the results that they want in the job. If you got the people to call, we're going to teach you how to sell the Cutco. So there's going to be some assignments coming out of this workshop that you're going to want to take action on and set some checkpoints with your local manager around what needs to happen in the next 7 days prior to July 8th. We have our division meeting on the 8th. We're blocking off 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. that day to get fully prepared, ready to rock and roll for the push. Your objective should be to accomplish your attack list coming into that meeting on the 8th, ready to rock and roll. So when you leave that meeting on the 8th, man, it is go time to build towards 20 plus demos for the push. Ideally, on the 8th, when we get there, you've already got your 9th, 10th, and 11th demos organized, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th demos organized, ready to rock. So you're able to start immediately when we leave the division meeting on the 8th, you're ready to start booking for the SC2 push. So, Dom, let's dive in. We're going to cover, we've got, let's see, 6 or 7 points here that we're going to dive in and chat with around how to accomplish this. So, number one, Dom, what is the first thing that we want to make sure that we do prior to the start of the push between now and when I want to have 150, calls ready to go on really I'm thinking about that's the 11th. That Friday is the 11th. So what can I do to make sure I've got a lot of names and numbers prior to that? What's first?
Well, first thing, guys, I would definitely say, Ben is just doing the job. Obviously, you're a spot. Some of you guys are brand spanking new. Some of you guys started this weekend. Some of you guys have been with me for a little bit longer, or with the job a little bit longer. You should be in the neighborhood of averaging on the low side 5, but obviously, when you guys are a spot where you're 10 plus. So just doing appointments, right? You should guys have in the neighborhood. I know in Marietta for our office, it's complete 10 at a minimum, not scheduled, but complete 10 demos between now and when we start that first phone jam. That on the low side will give you 50 plus recommendations, but for a lot of you guys, that'll lead to 100 plus. A lot of you guys obviously, but just completing anywhere from 10 to 20 appointments between now and when we start there. So once we start that, obviously that's one key, but that'll be a way to get some fresh recommendations going into it. I hear a lot of times, Ben, that some people say, "Hey, like I want to I want to save
Oh,
a
I was
certain
just thinking about that. Yeah.
I want to save and I get the concept of like you want to save a big order. However, if you guys really do the math behind it, would you rather have one like that one client or would you rather have 10 of their friends?
Yeah,
I'd rather
totally.
have 10 of their friends. So I would say it's one thing is whoever the people that you want to see during the push, see them now. That way you can duplicate them when the push starts.
So if I've got that one customer, like my mom's friend, and if she's like ready to see me, and I'm thinking, oh, I want to get her for SC2,
Hmm.
see her now,
Yeah.
like see her this week, so that way I can go see 10 of her friends in the next 7, 8 days, and then I can see 50 of her friends during the
During the
push,
push. Yeah.
right? I was talking to KB this morning, mapping out her push, our branch manager in Columbus. She said during the Olean push, I think it was Olean or January, she had one neighborhood
I
that
think it was all push.
she did like I think 22,000 on like 13 or 14
Yeah,
orders,
all in push.
really from one customer that got her into that neighborhood.
Yeah,
So
that was all in push.
we got to get in, right?
Yeah.
We got to get in. So do a lot of demos.
Yeah.
10 to 20 demos are we should be targeting somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to a few hundred new leads prior to the start of the push.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Number two, what's the second thing that I can do between now and then involved with texting some of my friends to how do I do it? And then what can I do to, because I think in training, I think Dom, a lot of people in training feel really uncomfortable texting their friends to get parents'
No,
numbers.
for sure. I know I did.
And then they start getting leads and they never really go
Yeah,
back
that's
and
off.
do that. Maybe a few of them they get recommended to, but I think there's a major opportunity to go back and actually send some text messages to some of my friends to get their parents' numbers. How do I do that like appropriately,
Yeah.
properly?
So it's nice thing, guys, is you guys, depending on who you guys went with training, but for us in Marietta, they do a little bit of this in training. But the thing, guys, I would just say, just remember when you guys first started, whether it was just this past week or whatever, you've done a lot more damage, you have a lot more conviction, you've used the product a lot longer. Guys, I would shoot the shot. Shoot the shot. Shoot the shot. Worst case they say is no, but I would shoot the shot. All right, guys, keep in mind if someone doesn't sell to them, heck, Christian probably will.
Somebody will.
Somebody probably will.
Don't leave your spreadsheet open.
No, no. But I'd say you guys shoot the shot. Shoot the shot, text the parents' numbers. It's already built into the app, right? We also have a document what we're going to give with you as well with perfectly things to respond. But obviously that on that side, guys, I would say as well texting, but a lot of people, right, I would say, guys, can copy that message and send it also on like Snapchat or like Instagram. It doesn't have to be
Because
text,
I might
guys.
not have their number.
Correct. Correct. Or you might talk to somebody way more on Snapchat or Instagram or whatever the case may
Feels
be.
more natural to text them or reach out to them that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. So I would definitely say, Ben, this is something that if you really do this the correct way, of course you don't have an infinite number of friends, but this could probably get you 10 to 30 of the really right types of customers. And they're
About
really easy to book.
about how many texts would you say or reach outs? Like
Yeah.
if I was doing this, I would call them first if I felt comfortable calling them. Some I
Yeah.
might feel comfortable sending a Snapchat message. But how many reach outs do you think it takes to get a phone number?
I would say what we've seen is off of 20 texts or 20 reach outs. On the low side, it's about 4 to 5 phone numbers. On the high side, it's 10.
Okay, got it.
So anywhere from four, again, depends on your relationship with them, how close you are with them.
Gotcha.
Right? Obviously, with people that you know very well, probably a lot easier. But if you're really doing this the correct way and you're really, really aggressive
20 to
with this,
50%, somewhere in that range.
that's what I would say.
So if I wanted to get 20 new phone numbers from this, I would want to send out somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 100 texts,
Correct.
something
Correct.
like that. So it would,
Text, snaps,
copy and
DMs,
paste, send them
whatever.
out, take an hour, 2 hours, and just bam, 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 get
Mhm.
what you get, right? Cool. Um, Number three, tell us about the third thing that we can do. What's next?
So one thing I'm going to defer to Ben on this, guys, but one thing is at this point in time, not all of you, but most of you should have had a one-on-one conversation with your manager. I remember Ben you doing this with me where we'd sit down, we mapped out the push. One thing I actually I told my people this. I didn't do this really good the first time I did this. I didn't do a good job of really sharing with my mom like my plan. Then when the push started, she was like, "Why are you working so hard?" Now it's to the point now where she comes to me and is like, "When's your next push?"
Yeah, yeah.
So
Saving them.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I would say, guys, I'm gonna defer to Ben on this, guys, but is sharing your plan, sharing your things, and sitting down with mom, dad, friends, any friends, close family, really, really close, like loved ones, and getting some more. Because let's be honest, guys, some of you guys probably got 10 to 20 recommendations when you first started with mom. And I know my mom personally can have given me like a ton more.
Yeah.
So, Ben, I'm going to defer to you on this one because I know this is something you've done
Yeah.
phenomenal with yourself and also coach more people doing so with this.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just going to walk you through when I did this the first time with my mom. So I think when I met with my mom and dad the first time, I always get the question, what did they buy? They bought a Galley Plus 6.
Oh, my mom too.
And I don't, why did they not buy the homemaker? I don't know. Maybe my mom wanted to see what I did when she said no, or maybe my dad did. They were both there. I don't know. But they bought the Galley Plus 6. Of course, they have an Ultimate now. And if your parents don't have an Ultimate, they should get an Ultimate. Um, but here's the deal. My mom gave me, I think, 10 recs
Mom gave me 12.
when I met with her first. And I mean, my mom worked for Hewlett Packard for 35 years. My dad, worked, he was an attorney. And so, like, both of my parents, like, I think about how many people they were actually connected to over the years. And I like started getting 15 or 20 or 30 recs from other people. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what did I do to my mom? Like, and I realized all I did was I only asked for 10.
Yeah, that's
I had
fair.
never really asked her to give
Probably
me
know what you're
more.
doing.
I didn't. I had no
Yeah.
idea. And she probably gave me 10 because I think 10 was on the sheet that I gave her.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I didn't really think to expand beyond at that time, nor did I really understand the importance of it. So there's an opportunity to go back to a lot of people, but we're going to talk about how to go back to all your customers here in a minute. I want to zone in on how do you have the conversation with like your top 3 to 5. Like, I want you to write down real quick as you're listening to this, who are your top 3 to 5 that like, if you were in trouble, you could reach out to them and you know that they'd have your back. Like, they'd have you, right? For me, I think about my mom would definitely be on that list. Erica would definitely be on that list, my mom's best friend, and like I grew up with her son. Um, my wife's family would be on that list, girlfriend at the time when I started the job, Catherine's family. Those would be like my first 3 that I know are super connected and I know could get me a lot more. There's other people that I could reach out to,
Yeah.
but my parents, Erica, like the reason I put Erica on that, like they're super connected. They've got the right people. And then Catherine's family, like those 3, if I was to really nail it with those 3, I could get a ton. And if I was to add on
Those
another
3 what?
those 3 families,
Yeah.
those 3 families, I could get like a lot. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is what you need to do is what I did with my mom. I took her to Wright's for lunch.
Right.
And it was a little sandwich, little deli in Dunwoody. And it was weird for me to go out of my way to say, Mom, I want to take you to lunch. Right. So antenna automatically goes up. She's like, what's up?
What do you
right?
want? Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, I want to take you to lunch. Right. She's like, what do you need? I was like, I'll tell you at lunch. Okay. And so we're sitting down, we get our lunch, we eat our sandwiches. And I said, after we kind of ate, I said, Mom, you know, if you ever need anything from me, I'll be there for you. Right. She's like, okay. And I'm like, Mom, I want to share with you what my goal is for this push. I'm going to be working really hard. And I want to let you know I'm not going to be always available, for family stuff and like this period for SC2 Push, I'm going to be working really hard.
Yeah.
And I want to take you and Dad out to dinner after the push. I want to take you and Dad and Brett, the family, out to dinner. And I just want you to know I really appreciate your support in everything you've done for me, helping me to get to this place. And if I'm going to go after this goal of $35,000 for the SC2 Push, I'm going to need your help with something. And it's something that it's honestly my fault that I haven't asked yet. But what I'm going for is I'm going for before the push starts to have 30 plus demos lined up. And I need to have like 200 to 250 people to call leading into the push. Right now, I've got close to that, but I want to do some demos before the push.
Yeah.
And I want to get more of the right people so I can be more selective about who I choose to call. So, Mom, if you were doing the job, like if you were selling Cutco, put yourselves in that shoes for a minute. How many people do you think would know your name from like work, from HP, sports that I played growing up, school from me, school from Brett, families that y'all been connected to, it being in our neighborhood for 20 plus years? Like, I mean, I don't know. What do you have? 500 names and numbers in your phone? Like how more? I mean, you've got that growing up, I remember that in the corner of our kitchen, we had this top cabinet that you used to put all of the baseball directories in.
Oh yeah.
Do you still have those? Like it's somewhere. I don't know where they are, but like how many names and numbers do you think like if you really tried, like you could come up with? How many do you think?
Probably what, like a couple thousand.
More than 10?
Probably a lot more than
Because
that you
you
probably
gave
gave
me
me.
10 initially. So I just
Like that.
what my goal is to do here is I want to focus on three people that could give me another 20 to 50 recommendations before the push starts. Mom, can I count on you for 50?
Yeah, I got you.
Here's a sheet. You can
Yeah, the
put
sheet.
hand her the sheet, give her a spreadsheet,
Now
whatever,
with the app,
right?
just have her do more than that.
Or just do it right there.
Yeah.
Hey, can we just knock this out right now? Let's just do this together. Or you schedule another time to sit down with her, go through the directories, spend an hour. Like that is the most important thing that you can do,
Mm.
right? And then we need to do the same thing, Dom, with the other two.
Let's say if you did that with three people, let's say you average 25. I mean,
That's 75 fresh leads.
yeah,
I would target this activity can generate 100 plus fresh leads for you before the push if you
yeah.
do it the right way. If you take the time to do the launch, you set up a follow-up meeting or do it right then and there where you can actually work on this with them and like get out the phone number, get out their computer, get it all out. Like sit down and like really take this seriously. That can get you a lot of
And
those numbers.
if I could make a comment on that, Ben, I remember when I first started, my mom gave me 12, right? She gave me a
Yeah.
lot more now. I would definitely say when I came back and was doing this, and when my mom was giving me recommendations, she was like, she kept getting all these comments from her friends. The initial 12 that I did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Dom's so respectful. Dom's so blah, blah, blah. The product is awesome. Like after I'd done that, she really had realized,
Mm.
okay, cool. Like obviously she trusts me. I'm her
Yeah,
son.
yeah,
But it just was a lot more belief for her after number one, she got the product
yeah.
and also got some feedback from her friends.
Yeah, the reality
So
is they don't know if you're really going to take it seriously at the beginning,
yeah,
right? It might
yeah,
be one of those things you do a demo, they buy something. It's like Sally Foster, right? I sold that wrapping paper, for like to support my school. And
yeah.
fuck, I mean, what did I do? Like a couple of appointments. I sold a little bit of wrapping, but I didn't take it seriously. I didn't do it
Yeah,
for very long. So at the beginning, she probably viewed it kind of like that.
yeah.
Now she was able to kind of think about it and look at it differently. And I created a space and gave her the tools to be able to do that, right? And of course, like if you need to throw out something like get a peeler from your manager and give it to her. There's ways that you can get Cutco to be able to support and give it to her, but most of the time you don't need to do that. You just need to take her to lunch, have her feel appreciated,
Heck,
let her know
share
you
the
need her.
goals.
Yeah, yeah. This is a great time to share too, like what your calendar is going to be for your push and
Yeah,
you're tied
how
into
hard you're working.
that. And
Yeah.
then she's like, instead of wondering why you're not there, she's supporting you and asking you about your goals and how she's doing. And I think that's really key. So cool. Number 4, tell us about social media. So, what can we do, Dom, to utilize our social media accounts and anybody that we know and love that loves us, their social media accounts with the right permission? Because there's some things that we can do that, I mean, Kaylee Hartridge, for example, we were just talking about this. She was generating when she was doing this program that you're about to talk about,
Oh yeah.
40 to 50 messages that she would send, she would generate another 4 to 5 appointments, about
Yeah.
10 messages to one. And I mean, she absolutely crushed it and ran with this program. What can we do to utilize social media?
Yeah.
How do we do it? What forms of social media do we use? Walk us through that.
Yeah, you want me to share the screen?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I'm gonna go ahead, guys, and share this screen with you guys. Before I do that, guys, I will say though, it works very well. When you do, I'm gonna go over there in a second, but when Kaylee, when she did get the number, it's like the easiest demo to book. Because obviously the person said they were interested.
Yeah.
So we used to call this guys specifically the Facebook program. I want you guys to understand, yes, I will say, I hear this all the time, Ben, I don't have Facebook. Reps tell me I don't have Facebook, which is true. I want you guys to understand most of your customers do. Cool thing about Facebook, guys, it's free. It costs you nothing. So I want you guys to know there's two versions of this. One works way better than the other. I'm going to go over the harder way first, then I'm going to show you the easier way. So the harder way, guys, is the traditional one. So what you guys see on here, there's a Facebook approach, Facebook or Instagram, right? There's a post where when you guys are doing these next demos here, Ben, for the next 10 to 20 for these next 2 weeks, I will start having your customers and build this muscle, not just before the push, during the push. Just add this to your toolkit, guys. This does not take place of recommendations. You still get recommendations, nothing changes there. But what I would also have your customers doing is start having, and it literally has a post right here of what they can do on there, right? What there also is as well is let's say that you've done some appointments because we talked about Ben those three core ones. There's a lot of demos you guys have done that have Facebook or have social media that you might not be able to meet with them or take them to lunch, same way you did with mom. So there's a post right here as well asking them to share a post. There also is a message here as well as let's say this is one of your representatives or one of your customers. They have a lot of friends on Facebook, maybe a couple thousand. There's a message there with asking for permission to message their friends. Okay. And then once you get that permission, it's really simple. Obviously, guys, you'd have to change the verbiage to match you and your school, and then have the responses right there. Once they say the responses, I'm interested, perfect, would love to give you a call to iron out the details. My number is blah, 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 blah. What's the best number to reach you at? Okay. So really, really simple there. Cool. Okay. So that's the first way is using your account, we say Facebook, but it could be Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Ideally, I would say, Ben, most like my mom now, for example, she has an Instagram now and she uses it a lot. However, her Facebook is like the bread and butter, and she's
Yeah.
now building her Instagram. So if I would say, guys, if you had an option, choose
Build her
Facebook.
algorithm.
Yeah. Um, is I would defer to Facebook, just whichever one your parents have more of. So that's the harder way, right? Or not the harder way, but the less efficient way. Here's the efficient way. Here's what something we did, right? I did this as well. Zoe English, for your listening as well as you remember this from last year. I had this messaged out. What we found is that Zoe, what she did is she got her mom's account and she logged into mom's account. Obviously, I would do this, Ben, after you do that meal with them
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
sharing your goals.
Hey, this is one way you can help me out.
Correct.
If they're
Correct.
okay with it. Yeah.
Right. Is because I want you to stand like Kaylee Hardridge, for example. Her mom had 5,000 friends, or I think 3,000 friends on.
Connected.
Correct. Obviously, she didn't have all their numbers. There's some people she wanted to do demos with that wasn't on there. So really simple. If you log into mom's account and you have mom send this from mom's account, and it literally has the response rate is higher. I want you guys to understand if me, Dominic Allen, messages one of my mom's friends who I'm not directly friends with, nowadays with social media, there's a lot more restrictions and guidelines. I'll send a message. They might get the message. They might not.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. But if they get the message from mom, who's already friends with them, the response rate is just so much better. It's so much cleaner.
Yeah.
I would do this, guys, again, like I said, with Facebook, with Instagram, any social accounts as well, too. One thing as well, we're
So
talking
they
about.
just get on, sign into the account,
Yeah.
and then they just send this message
Yeah.
from that account.
Super simple. And
Copy and paste.
I literally have, and like I said, but once they get the number, if they do get the number, the book, I mean, it's so easy. It's not even the regular, it's use the regular script, but it's like, yeah, when can we do the demo?
Yeah.
And it's so simple.
Love it.
So this is something that also I would say as well, this allows you, what I used to do and what I had Kaylee do is her mom had 5,000. Obviously, Kaylee could message all 5,000 in a day, so she would nitpick the top ones,
Got it.
right, and kind of focus on the top ones. She sat down with mom and dad. Dad was a realtor. They were both realtors and said the same thing as well too.
Cool.
So that's something, guys, as well that can really, really help you out a lot is just signing in with mom's account and sending the message with her. Make sure, guys, as well that when you're doing this, ideally you're the one responding for mom, but if mom's responding, right, you just go through the scripts that we have here to get the best results.
Cool. I'm gonna piggyback. I think that's awesome, and I'm gonna piggyback on something that Carson Yates does on social media. So, Carson doing a lot of service calls. He shared this with me this morning. After his service call, what he does is he has the customer post on Facebook, post on Nextdoor as well. Basically, just hey, I'm here with my Cutco guy. He did a sharpening for me. I got some new stuff. Blah blah blah. Carson's awesome, right?
Obviously, his
selfie.
selfies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Got to do the selfie. And then what he does is he just follows up with anybody that liked the message, comments on the
Comments. Yeah.
message. He'll send a private message to them directly, and he's just watching it like a hawk. And then he'll set up appointments with those people. So that's another thing that we can do as we're meeting with clients, that we can start to kind of get some things going in their community, in their neighborhood, that type of thing, and utilize that effectively.
Cool thing, like I said, all this is free.
Yeah, totally.
Costs you nothing. It might just cost you a little bit of time for you to set up a Facebook.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Cool. Let's go to the next one. The next one is reaching out to past customers. We don't spend a lot of time on this, but any customer that you've done a demo with that you know you could get more recommendations from, aka all of them could give you more. Unless you got like 100 recommendations from a client, I would reach out to them. Anything less than 20 for sure. I'd reach out to them and do this past customer getting more referrals. There's a script for how to do it. It's really simple. It's basically just reaching out and saying, hey, I messed up in the beginning. I wish I had more people to call. I made a mistake when I was doing referrals with you, and I'd love an opportunity to do that again. Would you be open to scheduling 15 minutes with me to work on that? And it's kind of taking that approach of, I messed up. I'd love to work on this section of the demo with you again, and creating a space to be able to do that. So there's a script for that. The last one is what, number 6, and I'm gonna share a caveat at the end here, but what's the last thing that we need to make sure we do in recommending ourself to ourself? And what I mean by that is, like, think about yourself as a customer. And if you were sitting down with yourself, asking yourself for recommendations, what are all the different ways that you could get numbers of all the different connections that you have? What are some things that you could do to collect to get those?
This has definitely, I'd say, been a probably the easiest way once you
Yeah,
get it to
yeah,
get the numbers,
yeah.
and the most way that's not used the most, right? A little bit old school, I guess, but is rosters, directories, yearbooks. I know for me, um, played tennis growing up, and like I know like my high school tennis team, not terribly big at tennis, right? And a lot of them played baseball, football, basketball.
Yeah.
Um, but either way, we had like they had the mom, they had the roster kind of
The
page
team
where
mom,
yeah.
right? Put together all the contact information of all the different parents and kids that played on the team for
Mhm.
announcements from the coaches or who's bringing the food, that type of stuff, right?
Correct. So they had that page and they had that everything in one spot. So like I said, for tennis, for me, again, not a big sport. So our high school team was about 15 people.
Mhm.
So nothing crazy. I know for baseball and football, it's like
25. For football, it's more,
probably a
probably
lot more.
more
Yeah.
like, 40 to 50 on the roster, depending on how big the team is, type deal. But yeah, I mean, any of the sports teams, that could be anywhere from, 10 to 50, right? There might be also multiple age groups, right, that you've played on. You've got your inside of school, you've got your outside of school, maybe on travel teams.
Neighborhood.
You got your neighborhood, you got your church directory potentially if you went to church. Maybe you got a couple churches if you've changed churches. Even if it's not like a paper that they hand to you, sometimes the members of that community have a login online where they have access to the roster. Like for me, when I moved into my neighborhood, they just sent me the
The
neighborhood
neighborhood
directory. Yeah,
list. Yeah.
it's online, right? We've got access to it. We can see everybody in the neighborhood. Um, Church, school, some schools have these directories, neighborhood directories, sports directories. If you're a member of a country club or one of your customers is a member, then they've got
I have
access
that as well there
probably
too.
to that. Yeah. So the last thing while we're on here, you mentioned number one was doing 10 to 20 demos a week prior to the start of the push and making sure that we're rocking it with Rex.
Yeah.
I've heard some people, it's crazy, I know. I've heard some people
Oh, no.
not use
Yeah.
the app to get recommendations because they aren't comfortable dealing with how a customer might respond of, oh, are you going to take all my contacts? Should I trust it? Should I allow it? And they just simply don't know how to respond to that. So you average, Dom, a lot of recommendations for your reps. You also average one of the highest personal recruiting numbers when you ask people for recommendations in training. That's something you're confident in. It's something you've always been good with. You also, develop this text program to make it more efficient to book contacts, and it was by tying in the customer
Hmm.
to having them send a text heads up. So when I'm going through and getting recs, no, number one, I need to memorize the approach, right? I need to be
Yeah.
confident.
If you're not fully confident, they're not going to give it to you.
Number two, when they get to that point on the screen where they go, do I want to allow all my contacts? What do you say? How do you coach people towards that?
Yeah,
Tell me
so I
through
would say, guys, a big thing is a lot of customers think, oh my gosh, they're taking the before I teach you how to do that, I want you guys to understand like what actually happens.
what goes through the customer's mind? Like, why
Correct.
are they asking that? What are they thinking
Correct.
about, right? Because if we understand, we can get ahead of it, right?
It's the same thing, Ben, like whenever if I were to go and re-download Snapchat, Instagram, a lot of platforms, they'll be the same type of security questions.
Yep.
It's not
Yep.
like Facebook or Instagram or whatever taking all the information, right?
Yep.
So a lot of times customers think as when they see it, because again, this is something that's relatively new, specifically with Apple phones within the past year.
Yeah.
Customers thinking, oh my gosh, Cutco or Vector or Ben Jackson, boom, you get all 2,000, 3,000, 500, whatever contacts when that's not happening. When it's saying full access, it's allowing them to select the ones that they want,
Got
not
it.
giving them full access from there. So that's
And to who?
only to the representative.
Only to the rep,
Only to the
not the
representative.
company, not the manager. It's
No.
only the rep who would be able to see
To
those.
see the numbers,
You
correct.
can't see my recs. I can't see John's recs and so forth. Like we can't log in and see people's recs.
No.
I think that's a misconception sometimes.
So that's one thing I just explained to the customer.
Okay.
I will say that as you're developing this and you're doing this, one thing I like to add in is I'm like, oh, hey, Miss Susie, yeah, this is actually how I got you for an appointment. This is the exact same thing that Miss Jenny did.
Yeah.
And once I start kind of building that up a little bit, I'm doing that a couple
Social
times.
proof,
Yeah,
sharing
it
that.
becomes a
Yeah.
lot easier because people want to do what's normal.
Yeah.
So once
Totally.
I'm just sharing that with my customer and just
Totally.
reaffirming to them that I'm the only one that gets it, Ben Jackson doesn't get it, Cutco doesn't get it, whatever else makes them feel a heck of a lot more comfortable.
Totally. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Guys, I hope this was helpful. There's some actions to take coming out of this. We gave you kind of six things with a bonus on recommendations, but I would set some checkpoints. What are you going to do in the next 24 hours? What are you going to do in the next 48 hours? What are you going to do in the next 3 days, 7 days? What are you going to do prior to the start of the push? In each of these categories, if you just started simply with I'm going to take three people to lunch and you schedule those lunches, that could be 100 fresh leads. If you could pick one directory that you could get, that could be a few hundred more leads. So the opportunities are endless. The more leads that we have on our attack list, the more selective we can be with who we choose to see. So
And and the cool thing that I love about this is you guys have six opportunities. I've worked with people
yeah,
before in the past where, Dom, I tried one thing and it didn't work.
yeah,
Like, I want you guys to understand some of your parents, for example, like my aunt, no social media, no whatever, and that didn't hit for her with the social media stuff, but I got some more recommendations. So I want you guys, if you do all six of these things, there's going to be a couple things that hit a lot more than others, but all it just takes is just doing the action.
totally. Awesome. Thank you, Dom. This was super helpful.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Cheers. Let's rock SC2, guys.